Bitcoin continues to trade like a tech stock. It drives me nuts. At some point, it will diverge from that, break away from that, but it hasn't yet. Case in point, consumer price index comes out yesterday. Frank, what happens? Bitcoin drops 10%. All the naysayers can easily say, hey, look at that. It's too volatile and all that. However, at the same time all this is happening, and even beforehand, because that just happened yesterday, Frank, there's a couple of quick stories I want to touch on. Did you see any news on Fidelity offering Bitcoin to its clients? Now, we've talked in the past about Fidelity doing it through retirement accounts. This latest report out of the Wall Street Journal is talking about Fidelity opening up 30 million and change. I think it's 34. Let's just round down. It's 30 million brokerage accounts that they have that could potentially get asset access, to buy Bitcoin. That's a breakthrough. And then just yesterday, did you see the news about EDX? If I say EDX, what comes to mind, Frank? Nothing, right? No. EDX Exchange. They're building.
I know where you're going with this because I read that story. Yeah. I happen to read that story, but go ahead.
Who's behind that? There's some big backers there. This is from Bloomberg. We have Charles Schwab, Fidelity Digital Assets, which is a wing of Fidelity that we just talked about. Paradigm, hedge fund. I don't know who that is, actually.
Very, very huge and very, very huge.
Sequoia Capital, big one. Citadel Securities and Virtue Financial. Those two are unique because they do flow of funds, trades, front running, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. They're all EDX Markets. They're all building this crypto exchange out. I believe this is going to launch in November. The key takeaway to this is it goes hand in hand with Fidelity offering the access to Bitcoin to their 30 million plus. This is a big deal to me because if Fidelity can keep you in-house and not make you go somewhere else to buy something, it's going to be much easier. And a rising tide lifts all boats. You don't have to make this complicated. If you're going to open access to if you got to go in through a door and you only have a couple of doors and a lot more people are trying to go into that, you're going to have a huge influx of people. That's a good thing for the industry as a whole. To see that during bear markets and price crashes, however you want to describe that, to get attention, that is hugely popular. And that is something that you have to hold on to and realize, listen, it's difficult in our world because we want instant gratification. We all want to get rich tomorrow, including and led by me. I am the most greediest person that would rather be rich tomorrow versus today than anybody else.
I think everybody is. Yeah,
yeah, but I admit, me too. Mm-hmm. I would love to be a billionaire. I would still work for a while if I woke up a billionaire tomorrow, Frank. If I hit the lottery, I'm not quitting right away.
That's good to know. Thanks.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't play the lottery, so you're stuck with me. But my point is that those are good things. And yes, it's difficult when you see Bitcoin drop 10% in a day, and it's difficult when you have to look at 24/7 trading and all that. However, just, if it bugs you that much, quit looking at it for a while. You don't have events like this and processes like this and moves like this being made during bear markets if it's not a huge risk reward for the individual investor, and that's where you need exposure. I know I sound like a broken record to an extent, but that's still the path you're on.
When you look at Bitcoin, they say, well, it's people liked it because they want an asset that's uncorrelated. And if you could find an asset that's uncorrelated to the markets, you're going to see trillions flow into it. And it was kind of uncorrelated, right? It went up a lot more than the markets. But lately it's been correlated. But I just think that's lately. If you look at oil, right? If you look at oil, where oil went through the roof and then it crashed recently. It was down 35%. Most stocks got nailed. But then as it went up, right, it went up like over the past month or so and surged, right, off those lows. As oil was going up, the market was crashing, right? And this is before we just, like last week when we had, 5-6 consecutive days of the market going off before this crash. So, oil was like a safe haven, right? But it was just a safe haven briefly, like for a month or two. And I think you're going to see that too, where it's going to decouple from the market. It is a speculative asset, but to me, Bitcoin was a young person's, it's digital gold, right? And you look at it, digital gold. But it's a very easy story to tell because there's so many people that hate the dollar. They hate what politicians are doing. For example, why are they spending so much money? Like, we've never spent $1 trillion, I think, before the credit crisis. Now we spent $11.5 trillion, right? We spend trillions like nothing and $500 billion for the student loan. So we're throwing around these numbers like they're nothing. But when you put in perspective, it's like, holy shit. What is it, like 45% of all the dollars created in the last like 18 months or something? So it's an easy story to tell to even people who like gold, where, people want gold as an inflation hedge or a safe haven or something that's, a hard asset or whatever. to me, where you see what's going on in the spending, this is an easy story to tell. Not only that, you're looking at, there's a reason why Fidelity is getting in it. Fidelity loved cryptos and Bitcoin. They were in from very, very early. The earliest probably out of the major firms. You saw JP Morgan was shitting on it. There's a lot of hedge funds that were shitting on it, going, it's garbage. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, I'm starting to get it now. I understand it. And now with Fidelity in it, now it's almost forcing, because so many people want it and say, I want an allocation to this, 2-3%. I should have allocation to this. But if you go through certain funds, or you go through, I think it was, Schwab, now recently they're starting this. The reason why, Schwab is on this EDX platform is a lot of their clients want it. If you don't offer it, they're leaving. They're going to take money out of your brokerage house and put it someplace else. And that's why you're looking at BlackRock as well, where their Latin platform has $22 trillion. They have $11 trillion in assets under management. This is $22 trillion. This is their software platform that everybody uses. The top people, I think they have 200 clients, 230 clients or something, but those clients happen to be Fannie, Freddie, and the biggest companies in the world. And that $22 trillion might be $20 trillion after yesterday. But now they partner with Coinbase. Right. So now they're giving access to Bitcoin. So when you look at those numbers and the amount of money that's coming in, where Bitcoin has a market cap of $400 billion now, holy shit. I mean, if you have like a 3 to 5 year time horizon with that, and Ethereum being, Ethereum going through the merge and stuff like that, don't get crazy, save money on electricity costs and stuff like that. It was supposed to happen 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Now it looks like it's finally going to happen. But that is the number one currency for smart contracts, right? And NFTs and stuff, which, I'm going to cover NFTs tomorrow in a special interview. You're going to see how much money is flowing into this, even though you're seeing this crazy market, which is incredible. But people want access to this and they're giving it to it. But now you're looking at trillions having access to it. Not everyone's going to come in, but even at a 1-2% position, you're looking at a tripling in Bitcoin pretty easily. Again, I don't know when it's going to happen. It could happen in 6 months, 3 months, or it could happen in 3 to 5 years. But buying at these levels where it is and how it continues to trade around 20,000, when everything going wrong, what all the freaking scams and schemes that you've seen in other currencies that were supposed to bring it down, and it was pushing considerably higher. Again, it's linked to the market right now. It's considered a speculative asset. And if the market comes down, you'll probably see it come down. But man, in between 17,000 and 22,000. I mean, have an allocation to this. Just buy a little bit. It's not that difficult to buy. You can buy a certain, just have a little bit of allocation. Just what if? But yeah, there's massive demand coming. There's trillions now that you have access to that never had access to Bitcoin. And now you're going to see it, and you're going to see people trading it because it is a speculative asset. It is linked to the market in terms of when the market sells off, it sells off as speculative. But man, it's people get excited about Bitcoin. They want it. And now they finally have access to it. And this is like one of the first times they're going to have access to it, these major institutions. And it's going to continue. There's still trillions of dollars that are going to have access to this, whether it's State Street, whether it's B of A, just all the largest asset managers in the world, right? One by one, unless they want to lose that money and that money's going to come out and go to Fidelity now or go to BlackRock or go someplace else, they have to get into Bitcoin, and it's here. And you're going to see more regulation around it coming forward. But it's something that, I'm incredibly bullish on, and, you should have at least a small allocation to it.